Hello, I'm Tony from Bonner's Music, and this is my quick tutorial on how to create keyboard splits on the Hammond SK Pro range of keyboards. So I'm going to cover two different ways of splitting the keyboard. The first one will just be a basic split where you have one sound on your right and one sound on your left. And then there is a slightly more advanced way of splitting the keyboard where you can actually have three sounds layered across the keyboard. So let's start with the basic method of creating a single keyboard split. So we start off with just a piano sound on the whole keyboard. And if I come across to the left and press the split button, that then splits the keyboard in two. So I now have piano on the right, but there's nothing assigned to my left hand at the moment. So to assign any sound to your left hand, it's very simple. You hold the lower button in the middle here, and then you select the parts that you want to assign to the left hand. So I'm going to assign the ensemble part to my left hand. So I'll press lower, ensemble, and now I have a synth string sound on my left hand and piano on the right. So whatever sound you've got selected in the ensemble category here is what will be on the left hand. So let's change that to a bass sound, for instance. So I've selected finger bass. Now that keyboard split for me personally is a little bit too high up the keyboard. It's actually at middle C here. So if we just have a listen, it's splitting there, which is a little bit too much of a range for the lower part. So what you can do is move that split point. And again, that's very easy to do. Hold down the split button on the left there, and it brings up this screen. And it's already highlighted the split is at 2B, which is actually that note there. So just using the value wheel, you can move that split up or down the keyboard, and it even shows you graphically on the display there where your split's going to be. So I'm actually going to move that down an octave. So my split is at 1B. So in fact, let's move it up to 2C. So I've got from C downwards is the bass sound, and the rest of the keyboard is set to piano. So that's the first way of creating a very basic split keyboard combination in the SK Pro. So what I want to show you now is a more advanced technique where you can actually have three sounds split across the keyboard. So I'm going to show you a combination that I've already created here. So what I have is I've got a piano and a pad sound here. I've got a bass sound on my left hand, and then just on the very top note I've assigned some wind chimes. So I get this kind of effect. So you can be quite creative by splitting the keyboard in more than one place. So I'm going to show you how to achieve that now. So let's just go back to a basic piano sound across the whole keyboard. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to select a different piano sound, but one that's layered with the synth pad like you heard earlier. So I select piano. I use my arrow buttons to come down to, let's have grand piano and warm pad. And now I need to find the wind chimes as well. So I need to assign the wind chimes to the ensemble part. So if we switch over to ensemble, then that's set to strings at the moment. So if you press the other button in the ensemble part, what you want to do is to use the page buttons, and you'll see the menus along the bottom. You can step through until you find perk, which is short for percussion, of course. And sound number 297 is wind chimes. So at the moment I've got the wind chimes set across the whole keyboard. I want to activate the piano as well now, so we have both parts activated. So I press piano and ensemble together, and that's layered the piano and the ensemble together, but I want to split those two apart from each other. Now I'm not going to use the split button to do this. I'm going to use another feature which you may or may not have found inside the menus here, and it's to do with key ranges. You can actually set within the combination which areas of the keyboard each part is set to function on. So I'll just show you how to do that. So we press menu and we make sure combination is highlighted in blue, press enter. And it's the first page we want to deal with, but we need to step across to the hidden parameters, which are on the right-hand side. So if I just use the arrow buttons to go across here, you'll see it reveals more parameters that are associated with the settings for the sounds. So if we step all the way across, you've got key low and key high. Now these are the parameters that we're interested in. So to start off with, we highlight the high value for the piano part, and at the moment it's set to 8G, which is the very, very top end of the keyboard range on a grand piano. So what I want to do is bring that down, and I want that to end up on this note here, this top E flat. So what I do is just turn the wheel, bring that down until you no longer hear the piano sound on the very top key. There. So now I've just got wind chimes on the top note and the piano starts from the next note down. But I've still got wind chimes across the rest of the keyboard, and I don't want that. I just want the wind chimes on that very top note. So what we do is, remember, wind chimes are assigned to the ensemble part. So we go down to the ensemble on the screen and we make the lower key range of the ensemble part. We want that to be the very top note here, which is actually 6E. So we move that all the way up to 6E. There we go. So now I have wind chimes on the top key and piano and pad across the rest of the keyboard, so I get this effect. Now what I would also like to do is put a synth bass sound on my left hand as well. So let's go back to your main screen just by pressing the play button. Now this time I am going to activate the keyboard split as we did earlier in the video. So I'll press split, and now I've got piano and pad, wind chimes, and I've got a blank area of the keyboard here which I can assign a sound to. So I'm actually going to assign the synth part to my lower keyboard. So I hold down lower, press synth, and now I've got the synth sound on the left hand, piano and pad on the right, and then the wind chimes at the very top. But of course, I want to change that to a different sound, so we just arrow down to your synth part on the screen there, and you select one of the synth sounds. I'm going to use one of the presets called MG Lead, and it'll be here somewhere. There it is. So I've got my MG Lead sound, which actually makes quite a nice bass sound as well. And if you want to, you could add a little bit of release to that, just so the note sustains even when you let go, and even turn the cutoff down a little bit, make it a little bit more bassy as well. So then I get this kind of effect. Now, as I showed you earlier, that split is a little bit too high for me. It always defaults to middle C. So if we hold down the split button, I can bring that down an octave, bring it down to 2C. There we go. So now my bass part stops at C, and my piano and pad continues from the C sharp upwards. So So that's a very quick way of creating a sort of a triple keyboard split, and it's really good for intros to songs and things. So I'm sure you can be even more creative with some of the sounds you choose, but I do find that's a very useful feature on the SK Pro. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another one of my keyboard demonstration videos.